So about 10 days ago, CG did take to the forums and they gave us a little bit of an update about the status of the raid. Most notably, that we're not going to be seeing anything in the near future, certainly not before June, which begs the question, should you be investing in your raid team still? I'm going to answer that team by team in the video today. So it comes down to this. Out of the teams that I personally recommend for the Battle for Naboo raid, which ones are still currently worth investing, given that the next raid is probably coming in the next 3 to 6 months? We don't quite know a time frame for that just yet at the time of this recording. Knowing my luck, the day after I release this, CG will say, hey, the new raid's coming tomorrow, and this will largely invalidate my video, but we're not there yet, damn it. Alright, so in that meantime, I'm going to go through each of the teams that I recommend that will get you maximum scores and say which ones are okay to still invest in. We're going to start off with the Queen Amidala team over here. This is a trio team that I use personally at the Relic 9 tier for maximum points. It's a little bit pernickety, a little bit difficult to mod. However, this one is 100% still worth investing even if the raid were to disappear tomorrow. Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon Jinn both get used in a recurring assault battle known as the Duel of the Fates. These two characters, I believe it's about to come actually. Yeah, there we go. In 1 day and 10 hours, these two characters can be used in Duel of the Fates, which turns up once a month to give some of the best rewards in the game, including the ability to get good keypads, including the ability to get signal data and all that good business. You can even get crystals out of this, mod slicing materials. It is a phenomenal event. And like I said, once every month, it is 100% worthwhile, in my opinion, to invest in this trio team. Even though Queen Amidala is not part of the Duel of the Fates requirements, she is still a really, really solid PvP and PvE unit that can be used in TB at the highest tiers all the way through the game. There are no downsides to investing in this team. They are fantastic, even outside of Duel of the Fates, and get max score in the raid. There is no minimum amount that you can spend on these guys that is not worthwhile. 100%. First team, go ahead and do it. Second team that we are looking at is the Gungans. This is probably the easiest team in the game to actually max out the raid in. You don't need to change any modding. You can literally just go in and hit auto, especially if you happen to have the Bombardier Omicron, which is the raid Omicron for the current one. This team is a little bit different. When it comes to PvP elements, they are actually phenomenally good. They get underestimated a lot, but if you take these guys on offense, they can beat some of the toughest teams in the game without breaking a sweat, and they're also really good in TB. Now, the only downside for this is currently Jar Jar Binks, the legendary that they unlock, is not yet within the journey guide in a permanent basis, but he is most likely going to be in the journey guide in the next month or two, something like that. I believe it's May time last year that he came around, so in about a month or two, he should permanently move to the journey guide, which means as soon as you are ready for the unlock, which is R5 on your Gungans, you'll be able to get him straight away. The good thing about this is this team can actually operate as a short man, just 4 Gungans, no Jar Jar, and still score max in the raid, especially if you are putting that Omicron on Gungan Bombardier. Now, right now, I wouldn't really recommend throwing that Omicron on, just because you're going to get a very short shelf life, most likely, out of that Omicron. However, investing in the Gungans is still really, really valuable. Like I said, they do great in PvP, and they do pretty good in TB as well. They can auto several missions on several planets, as long as you take them into their better, the battles that they are able to take advantage of the mechanics a little bit more. They're a little bit RNG based apart from that. Overall, I would still invest in Gungans simply because the PvP benefits are actually phenomenal. The TW Omicron on Boss Nass is very good, and Jar Jar Binks' Omicrons in GAC are also very, very powerful. They don't have as much defensive viability as they used to, but they are still very, very good when you use them offensively. The Darth Maul trio team that I use here, now this is not the best Separatist team. The best Separatist team is definitely using a B2 lead, but it requires a Relic 8 investment if you really want it to become reliable, and that's a level of investment that I personally don't recommend. I don't think those units are worth going that far. The Darth Maul trio, however, I do think is worthwhile. The reason I say that is because all 3 of these characters are required at Relic 7 for one farm or another. Either it's going to be the Sea farm, or it's going to be Executor, or it's going to be Jabba the Hutt. You can always use these characters even if they're not in the raid. They're not great characters to be used, generally speaking, in PvE and PvP game modes, you don't really use them a lot, I will be honest, but you still need all 3 of these at Relic 7 anyway, so you can't really go too far wrong with them. The Kelleran Beq team at R7, again, this is something that I really don't mind recommending. Let me move my face real quickly. When looking at the Kelleran Beq team, there are a couple of things that we can do here. Kelleran Beq, he is a requirement anyway for Bo-Katan Mandalore, and she's a great legendary unit at Relic 7. No problem investing in him. He's also really solid in PvP, particularly Territory War. Good squad there, especially if you've got that Omicron on him. Shakti, she's required at Relic 7 for Jedi Master Kenobi. Grandmaster Yoda, he's a requirement at Relic 8 as well. It's only really where you get to Ki-Adi-Mundi and Mace Windu where it kind of falls apart a little bit. The only thing I would say is that Ki-Adi-Mundi is phenomenal. He's a really good Jedi, often gets overlooked. Just a lot harder to come by, unfortunately. Unless you happen to pick up that Lightspeed bundle of his, the only real way you can get it is through either Lightside GOTB, which most guilds won't do, or if you happen to use your Get 3 currency to try and unlock him, and that is a big ask. Mace Windu, he is a really decent tank, I won't lie to you. He's worth investing in, but he isn't actually required for anything at Relic 7 to my knowledge. So you can do it. He's got a really solid TW Omicron, but it's not exactly a mandatory one. So the Beq team, I'm kind of umming and ahhing about, is it really worthwhile? Now the Lumi team, I can't get behind it, guys. I'll be honest, the Lumi team is just a big no-no for me. Even though there's a combat mission in the first phase of Rise of the Empire, I think that requires Kit Fisto, it's still not worth it, guys. Lumi is terrible at this point. She just doesn't do anything. Her only purpose is the raid. Now, if you were to buy the raid Lightspeed bundle pass when that was around, completely different story. Qui-Gon Jinn, perfectly viable. Relic 5 with his Omicron, it's still a decent team in 3v3 in particular, with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Jedi Knight Anakin, fine. Plo Koon, he is a requirement at Relic 8 for GL Ahsoka Tano. Now, I'm not saying anybody should be rushing for that, but he is a pilot, has a good ship, and at Relic 8 it has even more viability than normal because of how it can counter certain fleets. But then again, it's not exactly a pressing one. So the ones that I would really steer away from if you're not really interested in trying to push the raid further are the 2 Jedi Galactic Republic teams. The Lumi one is an easy gear, for sure, but you're still wasting what I consider to be relic materials trying to get this team to be operatable, and you don't really want Kit Fisto. These are like bottom tier Jedi. Now maybe this will change in the near future when we get some Jedi Vanguard come to the game. Maybe Lumi is going to have some use on a, Jocasta new team. We don't know yet until we find out what's actually coming in the next era. However, I would say at this point, forget the Beq team, forget the Luminara team. Go with the Gungans, the Maul trio, and definitely go for the Queen Amidala one. That is order of priority as far as I'm concerned. I would do it in this order. And that kind of really wraps it up, guys. I know this is a short, brief video, but in my opinion, it's something that does need to be addressed. Don't sleep on your laurels when it comes to the raid. It is the best rewards in the game, even if it's only here for another 3 months. If you can just dip your toes in, get some extra rewards there, help your guild get to the next tier of rewards, you'll put yourself in a better position for when we know what the new raid's going to be. For personal disclosure, I am of the opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that the new raid, it's not coming in like July. I don't think it's coming in July. We haven't seen anything to do with it. All we've had is a post from CG saying it's not coming in June, which means July would be the earliest. We've seen no indication of what that raid is, what the mechanics are going to be, how it's going to operate, and it's 3 months away. Normally, we're given, at least what it is, who are the characters that we're going to be using, at least a couple of weeks away before it's happening. We're getting absolutely nothing. So I feel the raid is like 6 months plus, potentially, away from dropping. So you've got some time, I feel, at the moment to really start investing in these guys again to get your rewards up a little bit. All right. Now, maybe hold off 2 weeks until we see the start of the next era, just to really help, because I have a feeling that when we get the new era announced, we're probably going to be getting something like a road ahead, and that road ahead will give us some sort of information about what raid is coming, hopefully, fingers crossed. If there's no information about new raid in the next road ahead, you definitely should be investing in more raid rewards, okay, if you're not already hitting top box, right? And by that, I mean guild top box, not personal box. Because there would have to be some sort of announcement from CG about the new raid coming. If we're getting something else in the next era, or we're getting nothing at all, I would be a little bit concerned. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit a like, and I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.